Hi there, my name is Suze. I'm a divine feminine energy healer and guide. Let's talk today about a question that was left in a comment for me, which I love. Love, love, love. Love for a number of reasons. There have been a few of you who have been leaving me questions in comments, and I so deeply appreciate that. I love, love, love when you guys leave me comments and tell me how much my message is resonating specifically with things you're going through currently on your journey. It really helps me to know that I am tapping in collectively and helping and serving the feminine's needs at this time. So I really, really appreciate those comments. But I also really love the questions. And those of you who are asking me to maybe go deeper on subjects I've talked about before, or even just asking me personal questions about things that you're coming into in your journey. It is so meaningful to me when I get questions like that for a number of reasons, but it's so honoring to me that those of you who only know me here from YouTube, you've only met me here as I've spoken here, that you're willing to get vulnerable here in this public space and give me these questions and trust and value my insights to your questions. And that means the world to me. So thank you so much. I am so grateful for the community that I'm starting to see come together here on this channel. It is so exciting for me to see the community coming together, to see the hearts of you beautiful souls out there opening up and looking to deepen your journey in intimacy and connection and opening your heart up into your journey even more. I thank you so much for doing this work. So without saying any more, I wrote out the question and I'm going to read it first and then we're going to get into it. And it's interesting because this question, I feel like, is a question that I see asked a lot in various other places and channels and whatnot. And I think that my answer may be a little bit different than what some of you may have heard or seen elsewhere. So I really love that I'm being given a chance to answer this question. Here is the comment. Does one leave a man who is not meeting you at the depth of connection and intimacy you desire and is unwilling to do the work or even acknowledge there is any work to be done? Or does one wait and hope for him to change? For some of you, the answer to that may seem obvious, and to others of you, the answer may seem a little bit more murky. And so there is a very fine line here in answering this question, and I want to make sure that I cover the bases here. Because in a situation like this, the key words that are jumping out at me are meeting at the depth of connection and intimacy that is desired, and that the man in the equation is unwilling to do the work or even acknowledge, I love these words, unwilling, acknowledge there is any work to be done. And then does one wait and hope for him to change? There's a lot of key words here indicating where this person is at in their journey and how they are perceiving this current situation, dynamic connection that they're in. But there's more to the story. So I'm going to answer this with some more questions and then go deeper. First of all, I don't know this person personally, and so I don't know their personal tendencies. And the first thing that always comes into play with questions of should I go or should I stay, the first question I always have is, what is your attachment style? Because that will tell me where your weak spots are or where your tendencies are to sabotage a relationship or connection, first of all. Okay, so are you anxious attachment generally, or do you tend to go more towards avoidant attachment, or are you a combination of both with disorganized? Okay, so why I'm saying this is because if you tend to go more towards the anxious end of things, what I have noticed with women in working with women is that if you go more towards the anxious end of things, you end up staying in relationships maybe a little bit longer than you should have. And I use that term should very loosely because I also believe that women should never ever leave a relationship until you really truly are ready to go. And too often I see women being pressured to leave before they're actually ready to. And I am not talking about an abusive relationship. Please don't misunderstand me. I am not talking about an abusive situation. I am talking in more normal type relationship situations where women tend to stay longer than really is necessary. However, at the same time, the higher perspective, I believe, is that you stay for as long as you need to at the same time. Because there shouldn't ever be any shame around I should have left sooner, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. That's the thing. If you're going to choose to leave a relationship, ultimately, it must come from a place of clarity, of grounding, of peace, and certainty that now is the time to do this thing. Because now we're getting into the masculine. And for a lot of women who have a lot of work to do around healing their masculine energy, a lot of it is recognizing, allowing your masculine energy internally to hold space for the feminine and the chaotic emotional uncertainty and the emotional turbulence that happens when you're in a situation like this. A lot of the work I have found is learning to calm the anxiety down, the uncertainty down, and allowing your inner masculine energy to kind of hold the hand of the feminine in the current situation for as long as it takes until the feminine can move into the place of, again, the grounded, stable, clear, peaceful place of being able to make a decision and be so clear on that decision that she is not wavering in that decision. She is able to honor and hold herself to that decision. And that does require time. It's one of those things which I say this phrase all the time. It takes a lot longer than we would prefer. And I've seen it over and over again, where again, be careful who you're talking to when you're making these life-altering decisions. Am I going to advise, or am I going to talk to a friend who is able to hold the uncertainty and the anxiety of the situation that I am bringing to them? Do they have the emotional stability and maturity to calmly hold that container of safe space for me in my uncertainty and in my anxiety? Or is this person going to rush me to just end the relationship, or to just get out, or to stop talking about it, or to abandon in some kind of way because they're not having the masculine energy internally to hold the space for me? The process of choosing to end a relationship, again, often takes a lot longer than we would prefer. And so it may look, from the outside looking in, it may look like a woman is staying a lot longer than she should or is supposed to. But I'm in the believer of the process is that it takes as long as it takes. And it's more about healing the feminine and the masculine, allowing the feminine to be uncertain and emotional and what do I do? And learning how to calm yourself, ground yourself with your masculine energy. Creating a safe space for yourself to sort through the emotions for as long as it takes. Hold your own hand until you get to that place of peace and knowing this is my next step. Now, back to my original thought. I think I took a lot longer to explain that than I thought. I hope you all appreciate that. I gave you lots of good little nuggets in there. back to attachment style. If you tend to go more on the end of the avoidant, okay, maybe because that's where I tend to go. I'm a disorganized, just to let you guys know, I'm a disorganized attachment style, but in my past history, I've tended to swing more on the avoidant end of things. I tend to go there more, okay? So if you're on the avoidant end of things, you may be like me, where your history of relationships are that you're usually the one who ends the relationship. You're usually the one who gives up and walks away first. So if that's true, you can already see that if I'm in a position of deciding should I go or should I stay, I need to really temper the feeling, the sense of urgency to just go and run away and be alone because it's so much easier by myself and I just have to deal with everything on my own anyway and no one can help me or handle me, so I'm just gonna go away, jump ship, and take care of myself all by myself because that's easier, because that's what I've always known. That's what I learned in childhood. So obviously there's a lesson there as well of staying, calming, and learning how to stay in connection and work through things in connection until, again, I get to that place of total certainty, clarity, calm, peaceful, harmonious knowingness. And I mean a deep, like intuitive and heart knowingness that it's time for me to go, which is very different than the avoidant leaving, which is impulsive, immature, reactionary. It feels very like I gotta just get out. I gotta rush. It's an overwhelm. It's a rushing. It's a frantic. It's an impulsive. It's a immature reactionary, which is very different, obviously, than choosing to leave from a calm, clear knowing that this is the next correct action move for me to take in a very clear, calm, grounded, mature way. I just saw 1, 2, 2, 2. So that's the first piece in answering this question, should I go or should I stay? I don't know you, the person who left this beautiful comment and question, thank you. I don't know where you fall on that spectrum. So that's the first thing to be taken into consideration. Let's get back to the question. I am curious as well. I love that you have a sense of clarity of what you desire, the depth of intimacy and connection that you desire. I love that you have a clarity around that. And my first question for you is, again, take the attention off of the other person for a moment, because I don't know personally how much reflection you have done on this. So I'm just speaking freely without knowing any more information than this question that I all read to you all at the beginning here, okay? If we take the attention off of the other person who is at this time unwilling to do the work or even acknowledge there is work to be done, if we remove that person from the equation, because again, we can't control, we're not here to manipulate or coerce or force or nag anybody into doing anything, and that never works really anyway for the long term. It never works. It's not sustainable. So bring the attention back onto yourself for a moment. Have you gotten clear within yourself of what is required of you to be, what state of being are you going to have to be in to be able to participate with any person? I don't care who it is. Are you fully embodying the depth of emotional availability and intimacy and connection that is going to be required? Because often that is a lot harder than it may seem. A lot of times it's easier to focus on the other person and see what they're not doing right or what they could do better. And I don't mean this in a way of all the responsibility is on you. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is I have learned from my own experience in my past that it's so much easier to see what someone else could do better. And there's not an acknowledgement of the state of being I am going to have to be anchored into to be able to have that collaborative, intimate connection with someone else. And oftentimes, the person that we are currently with will give us many opportunities of being triggered for us to go back, again, shine the light on ourselves and refine the process within ourselves of where we need to be for whoever the person is to be able to collaborate. It's so easy to want someone else to be really emotionally available. But the more and more I keep shining that light back on myself, the more and more work I see that I could still do to be even more emotionally available, first of all, to myself and then to others. Are you consistently deepening the intimacy with your own emotional self and looking how you can strengthen your own container of your emotional self? How is your intimacy with yourself? And what I mean by that is every little thing you do. I had a call with a client last week and we were talking about that. Is like, this goes back even to the food you eat. Why are you choosing to eat what you eat? This is a very simplistic example, but this is how detailed it can get. Are you intimately aware of what foods, how they make you feel? And are you then choosing the foods that you know are going to support the emotional states of being and the physical, mental states of being that you know you need to be in to show up for everyone in your world in the space of where you want to be energetically, mentally, emotionally, physically? Everything in your life has to be aligned with this. And I think there's so many details of life that people miss. And a lot of the calls that I have with clients are going into this level of nitty-gritty details with your life. You have to start looking at every little particle in your life. Is everything supporting me for me to maintain the emotional, energetic, mental, physical state of being that I want to be in so that I know I can show up and be in alignment with the kind of life I want, the kind of relationship I want, the level of intimacy? Because if you're physically not feeling well, how can you show up intimately for someone else? If you're physically not feeling well, you're not going to be totally emotionally available for someone else because you're going to have to focus on the physical parts of you. They're going to be distracting you and your body is going to be asking for your attention as it should. That's what it's supposed to be doing. There's so much work on the intimacy with the self. And where am I sabotaging myself, which is the opposite of intimacy with self? And these really challenging relationships with other people around us are simply giving us opportunities, like I say all the time. Emotions are opportunities for a wealth of information of what we can tweak in ourselves. So as you can see, this question is a lot deeper than it may appear. It's not a simple, should I go or should I stay kind of a thing at all. Now, having said all that, the second question, does one wait and hope for him to change? I did a video about the feminine does not wait. Feminine energy does not wait. And if there is a part of you that feels like you're waiting, then I would recommend you going back into your childhood and ask yourself what your little girl was waiting for with your father or your mother or someone significant in your life. Your inner child. This is inner child. What was your inner child? When you were a child, what were you waiting for? What did you feel like you were always hoping would happen that just never seemed to happen? What were you waiting for? And then bring it into this current scenario. Are you waiting for that same thing here? And if so, why are you waiting for someone to see you? You're not seeing the value in yourself. If someone is, as you're saying in this question, they're not even acknowledging there's work to be done. It's signifying they're not valuing what you have to offer, and they're not valuing you enough to look at themselves and what they need to do to contribute to meet you where you're at, to go to the depth of intimacy that you're desiring. There's a missing value structure here. They're not valuing what you're contributing because they're not upping their value point of what they're contributing, which then can put you into a space of not feeling seen. If you're not feeling valued or acknowledged, you're not feeling seen. Why are you not seeing your own value? Are there people, places, things around you that do make you feel valued, or that do value the same things you value? That's the direction of where I'd start investing my energy. Because divine feminine is like that empress energy. Divine feminine, empress energy. She only invests her heart space energy in places that acknowledge the value of her pure heart energy. So then the question becomes, why are you investing your energy in a space that's not honoring you and valuing what you're offering, which then comes back to yourself? Why are you not valuing yourself enough of the purity of the energy coming from your heart? What do we need to look at that is holding you back from really seeing, acknowledging the value of what you have to give? And that is a very deep question that I'm not going to get into on this video, because now we're going into some deep rooted things that have gone back years and years and years and years and years and years of everyone's life experience. I hope this answered your question, or didn't answer your question really. I hope it gave you some interesting perspectives for you to take and apply to your situation. You know better than me what your life looks like, where you are exactly at in your journey, what you've already worked through, and where you're looking to go. And if there's anything more I can help you out with, please do reach out to me privately. We can always book a session as well. We can get into the nitty gritty details of your life and what is exactly going on for you. I am here for that. I also would recommend, there will be a video coming out soon. I already recorded it. I just haven't posted it yet. There will be a video coming out calling it "What Happens When You Dismiss an Emotionally Dismissive Person." That video might actually be very helpful to you as well as a supplement to everything I said in this video. So be looking for that one as well. Thank you again so much for all of you who are here, who are listening. Please do keep those comments coming. I so appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and have a beautiful day.